Going live.
Very different skills.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to both our members and guests today. My name is Stephen Longmire, your moderator for today, a DIA past president and a member of the DIA Board of Directors. The two key mandates of the Digital Imaging Association are to provide education and networking opportunities for our members. And I hope you find the educational aspect worthwhile, and we invite your feedback. Our membership is comprised of pre-press, printers, packaging converters, designers, advertisers, print buyers, equipment and consumable manufacturers, as well as vendors. And if you're a guest with us today, we'd like you to please consider joining the DIA, because today's session is an example of the high caliber meetings of which we run. If you would like more information on membership, please either scan this QR code, which is on the presentation screen right now, or contact Marg McLeod at 416-254-4941, or you can email her at marg, M-A-R-G, at digitalimagingassociation.com. Like most trade associations today, financial stability does not come from our membership revenues alone. So we turn to the vendors and suppliers to support our goals and ambitions. We're honored to continue to receive the support and recognition of the DIA's contribution to the graphics industry from the following companies. Platinum sponsors are Canon, HP, Innovative Display, Konica Minolta, and a special thank you and welcome to our newest platinum member, Landa Digital Printing, Spicers, and Trinet Global Logistics. Our gold sponsors are Adobe, Fujifilm, Graphics Canada, Heidelberg, Kodak, Kongsberg Precision Cutting Systems, Mini Giants, and Plastic and Paper. Our silver sponsors are GMG Color, Sydney Stone, and we ask you to please consider these companies and their demonstrated support of the industry when making your purchasing decisions. The technology for today's webinar has been graciously provided by HP. And today's topic is Drupa, must see, must know, must do. So today's session showcases an expert panel for this unique look at Drupa 2024. We're privileged to have the following panelists who bring different perspectives to share. Before we introduce our panelists, I'd like to also encourage the people in the room today with us to please put your cell phones on silent or vibrate. So our panelists today are Alex Düring, Senior Project Manager, North America, Messe Düsseldorf. As project manager, Alex is the main contact for Drupa in the US. And with his colleagues, he helps exhibitors and visitors alike with everything they need to know for a successful event. Alex will provide a 30,000 square foot overview of the trade show and help you with the often overwhelming logistics of transportation to and around the event, as well as tips for online visits to Drupa as well. Thank you for joining us today, Alex. Our next panelist is Mark Norlock, Account Executive, Sydney Stone. Mark is a veteran with no less than 4 Drupas under his belt. He will discuss an often overlooked but extremely important element of attending, organizing, and maximizing your time most efficiently at the event. He brings more than 40 years of experience within the Canadian printing industry, and Mark also serves as the DIA's Secretary Treasurer. And our third attendee today on our panel is Morten Reitoft, Editor-in-Chief of INKISH TV in Denmark. Morten's reputation is worldwide and unbiased in the print sector. He'll be the keynote speaker discussing featured technology and exciting new products at Drupa 2024. He's a sought-after speaker at special events, conferences, as well as webinars, and always delivers engaging and inspiring views on a variety of topics. INKISH is the only trade media that covers most of the worldwide printing industry. Founded in 2014, and with over 2,500 films produced from China, India, Japan, the Middle East, Europe, South Africa, and North and South America, INKISH has earned a reputation as the #1 unbiased source of information for the global printing industry. I'd like also to encourage our attendees today, both either in the room or online that are joining us, if you have questions for specific panelists, please submit it in the chat box within the Zoom meeting, or if you can raise your hand here, I will recognize the people in physical attendance. If you have a question for a specific panelist, please form that in the question submitted online, and I will direct it to that specific panelist. But if not, I'll do it as an overview to any of the participants to answer accordingly. Yep, so we will now be switching over to Alex and a PowerPoint that he has to begin to show us today.
Hi everyone, thank you Stephen for the introduction, and I will try to share my screen. I have a couple of slides prepared, and you can see my screen now. Here we go. Oops. Looks good for everyone?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. Okay, thank you again for the introduction. My name is Alex Düring. I am Senior Project Manager at Messe Düsseldorf, North America here in Chicago. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity to talk about Drupa, and a special thank you to HP for hosting this event. Yeah, it has been a long time, 8 years, so we are very excited and ready to meet again in Düsseldorf, the entire printing technologies community. It's only a couple of weeks out. The dates are May 28 to June 7. And yeah, I have prepared a couple of slides to show you what Drupa is about, what to expect, and let's dive in. First, I would like to give you a quick overview of the booking status. Registrations are still coming in. So actually, as of today, we surpassed the 1,600 exhibitor amount. We are now at 1,603 exhibitors from 51 countries. An amazing support from the community. And when we take a closer look at where the top 10 countries come from, we can see that, no surprise, there's a very strong presence from Europe, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, UK, Spain, Switzerland. And if we go a bit further east, Turkey, China, and India have all a very strong presence at Drupa. And if we go a bit further west, the United States are here with 58 exhibitors. And I'd like to add, like, since this event is taking place in Canada, we have 14 Canadian exhibitors at Drupa. This slide shows you our fairgrounds, and like in the past, Drupa is using all 18 halls of Messe Düsseldorf, and in total we have 140,000 net square meters used by our exhibitors. So much going on in these halls, and here on the right hand side we see the breakdown of the top 10 countries by net square meters. And I hope you bring a lot of time to explore all these halls and comfortable shoes, because yeah, there is a lot to see, and take some time to walk through all these halls and see all the running machinery and all what is going on. In fact, you know, there's of course all these exciting exhibitors, but we also have special forums within the halls. And these special forums, I would like to introduce you to these forums. They are inside the halls. All exhibitors and all visitors can attend these forums free of charge. You just pop in, no additional registration is needed. And I will just give you a quick overview what is happening in these special forums. Here they are, 5 in total. And let's start with the main one, which is the Drupa Cube. The Drupa Cube is our main conference forum in Hall 6. We already have more than 50 sessions scheduled throughout the 11 days of Drupa. And we cover the wide range of all relevant topics here in the Drupa Cube for the industry, including keynote presentations. We have a global macroeconomic outlook, of course, everything related to printing and packaging, brand stories, and so much more. And all these special forums are covered in our program on the website or on the app, so you can sort by special forum, by day, by even topic, to prepare better to see what is going on where and how you can implement it in your visit. Next, we have the Drupa Touchpoint Sustainability in Hall 14. This special forum is co-organized by the DDMA. This is the German Industrial Association. And yeah, sustainability is relevant for all of us, for every business. And here you can see the latest trends in circular economy, carbon footprint, how to reduce it, design for recycling, just to name a couple of keywords. Please come by. We have more than 20 companies, exhibitors of Drupa join and present in this special forum in Hall 14. Next, we have the Drupa Touchpoint Packaging in Hall 3. This special forum is co-organized by the EPDA, the European Brands and Packaging Design Association, and as well by the EHI, the Retail Institute. And here we already have more than 30 sessions scheduled throughout the 11 days of Drupa. And here you can learn everything about the latest trends in packaging, and with a strong focus on brand owners and what are the current consumer habits, so new materials, new solutions. Yeah, please swing by in this special forum as well. And then we have in Hall 7.0, we have the DNA, which stands for the Drupa Next Age. And the DNA is the networking area for global players and startups with a focus on advanced manufacturing, digital manufacturing, new materials, new business ideas, so very innovative companies. And they all have an info booth in this special forum. So please swing by and meet these very innovative companies and have a look at the DNA. And our last special forum is the Drupa Touchpoint Textile in Hall 4. Also here, we have a lot of support from the community, lots of content, more than 30 sessions already scheduled. And also in this special forum, we have a micro factory set up with the help of our exhibitors, where you can see the entire production process of an outdoor jacket from design to the finished product, with some partners, with the cutting, the embellishment, the fabrication, all with recycled materials. So a very fascinating micro factory you can see in motion. So please swing by at the Drupa Touchpoint Textile in Hall 4. Next, I would like to give you a quick summary of our 360 campaign. We have been fairly busy since September last year when we kicked off this campaign. We have used every available media channel to promote Drupa and spread the word. Part of these initiatives is, of course, our Drupa World Tour. And Sabine Geldermann, as the Drupa director, together with our Drupa chairman, Dr. Andreas Pleske, who is the CEO of Koenig & Bauer, traveled around the world and met with media, with the press, with the industry around the world, and the feedback is amazing. We anticipate many, many visitor groups from all around the world. More than 200,000 visitors will come from around the world, from more than 150 countries. So it will be just a very international event again. Here are a couple of impressions from the world tour and our social media campaign, and of course the media coverage and all these publications around the world. And of course, throughout these 11 days, we have many more events taking place in Düsseldorf, inside the halls. Yeah, there's a lot going on. So please reach out if you need to, or if you would like to learn more about what's going on at Drupa. This slide here is a good summary of all the tools we offer to prepare your trip to Drupa. Please have a look at the interactive hall plan or the interactive exhibitor list, where you can search by country, by product categories, so that you can see who is there, who you need to see. And of course, you can also keep in touch through our social media channels, the Drupa blog, newsletter. So there's many tools you can use to prepare your trip to Drupa. This slide here is just a reminder that we, of course, also organize more events around the world. Drupa, of course, is the main event. But if any of these other markets is of interest to you, let us know, and we are happy to provide you more information. For example, in Algeria, in Thailand, in the Philippines, and in China, we organize events. And our print and digital convention takes place every year in Düsseldorf. In the Drupa year, it takes place at the same time in Hall 3. At the end of my presentation, I just want to speak on behalf of the city of Düsseldorf. We're very excited to host this event again after an 8-year break. And the entire city will turn into Drupa City with more than 200,000 visitors and the 1,600 exhibitors with their staff. Come to the old town, come to the restaurants and the bars, the River Rhine and the harbor. We can't wait to see you there. And if you have any questions about Drupa, of course, you can reach out to us directly or to your representative in your country. For example, here in Canada, we work together with the German-Canadian Chamber of Commerce, which is located in Toronto. So hope to see you in Düsseldorf. Thank you for your attention and see you soon.
Thank you very much, Alex, for that very informative presentation. For my first question, I might actually pose this one to Morten, if I may. What do you think is the most disruptive technology to the printing industry that will be on display at this Drupa? I know it's changed over time, nanographic, before that, like way before CTP, like all sorts of different evolving technologies that have advanced the industry. But what is what's seen as one of the, or maybe a couple, Morten, of the most disruptive ones coming down the pipe?
As also Alex said, thank you very much for hosting this event, and grateful to be invited, and also good to see friends among the audience and speakers. So super nice. To answer your question, it's of course difficult because as Alex said, with almost or more than 1,600 exhibitors, it is a bit unfair to just point at a few things, because everybody is, of course, doing the very best to make it interesting for the audience to come to Drupa. What I would like to say is maybe a little bit more about some of the mega trends that are expected to be, of course, among the more interesting and in that respect, maybe also disruptive technologies. And that is, of course, still workflow automation. It's been a topic that for years have been extremely important. And before COVID, the reason for workflow automation was to save money on labor. Now it's because you can't get labor. So the same tools, but for different reasons, is among the things. But the interesting thing is also that workflow automation has moved away from just the pre-press. And now you say marketing automation, but you also see, for example, robots in a scale that you have not seen before. Fujifilm will have robots. MBO will have robots, Horizon will have robots, and also HP are bringing a nice little new MRS, which is actually quite interesting, because one of the problems with robots is often that robots needs to be programmed for specific applications, specific work. But HP is now bringing, as far as I know, the first more like generic robot to the market, which communicates directly with the Indigo machine. So basically, it automatically figures out when to pick up finished print and also to deliver print to the presses. So that is again something that is quite interesting. Then, of course, also inkjet is still something that is really on the top if you look at it from technology side. A lot of people expected both HP and Canon to deliver cut sheet B2 inkjet presses this year, but that didn't happen. So that is like, I know there are people that would have loved to see both of the companies take up the competition with Ricoh, who for years have been developing the C75, I think you say in the North America side, Z75 in Europe. And this one was actually released both in the US and in Europe just a few months ago. But that is something that Ricoh, of course, will spend a lot of time showing at Drupa. One of the things that I find very interesting at Drupa in the automation area is that the collaboration between the workflow automation software, like your local fantastic company, Ultimate Technographics from Quebec, is now that it is being integrated much deeper into the hardware. So, for example, Ultimate have developed collaboration with Horizon from Japan, also Duplo, and to make very complex integrated solutions that really helps the companies to get better workflow from that perspective. And I know I speak a lot. So the last thing I just want to emphasize is, of course, sustainability. I think also Drupa is, of course, having as Alex said, a theme about the sustainability is, of course, something that is very important, and also something that will be presented different solutions on it. We will, as INKISH, as usual, be a little bit critical in this because there's also tendencies a little bit to greenwashing. So we need to look into de-inking. We need to look into whether reducing waste because you print digital and not mass is enough for really calling it green products. But those are the roles of the media to help the PSPs and converters to get an overview what is right and wrong. But definitely a theme that is of huge interest and something that we need to focus on. And whether that is disruptive in itself, well, I don't know, but it is something that can be disruptive in the sense that a lot of companies will need to change their business models and how they produce and how they sell in the future in order to be profitable and still being able to be sustainable. So I think that, somebody's asking about AI. Of course, AI is also, but AI is in a segment of the workflow automation part, you can say that, because AI has been in the printing industry for many years. If you look at ESCO, they acquired another Canadian company, what's it called, Telelabs, last year or 2 years ago. And Telelabs, they developed AI for nesting and for in positioning a long time ago, and it's not. I also know from HP that a lot of the, let's say, the technology development they do have been developed also by using AI. So the vendors have used AI for years, and now it's just because the processes are getting cheaper. And I think that everybody looks at ChatGPT and say that, okay, now it is here, but it's been here for many years. So it is just taking a step further. But of course, it's always interesting to see how that will. But I see it very much as a part of let's say the software part of our industry, which is of course becoming extremely important. I can see that Nilanjan also asked about the new Fujifilm toner B2. It has a really nice name, Rivoria GC11250, right? I mean, so they always have these very easy to remember names, right? Why can't we just call them Julia and Jeff? That would be much easier, right? Well, the B2 was presented at IGAS 2 years ago in Japan, and I was there at the launch. And it was also presented at Printing United for the first time. And of course, it will be interesting because what is expected is now a shipping version of the GC11250 from Drupa. And it is a B2 toner-based printer that runs about a little bit less than 3,000 sheets per hour, as far as I remember. It's a bit slower than HP, but it is something that is seen as a worthy competitor in the B2 space. Let's say it that way.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Morten, for the insights on that one. This next question would be to the panel as a whole, but I'll start with Mark Norlock, actually, is what strategies would you recommend for effectively navigating the vast array, 1,600 plus exhibitors and products, and staying focused on making the most of your time at the event? So,
the most important thing is to plan. Start your planning now. make a list of who you want to see, where you want to go.
Microphone may be off, Mark, maybe it's just seeing it showing muted on the screen.
No, that's,
No, you can.
you're good. I'm still good? Okay.
Yeah.
So you need to know where you're staying, your accommodations, and how far you are away from the exhibit. What your plan is per day on travel time to and from the exhibit. You need to plan your packing, make sure you've got a couple of pairs of shoes, ones that are comfortable to walk around in. Because as Stephen says, you're gonna have your pedometer set and you're gonna make all your steps for the day in the morning before you even get to lunch. So stay hydrated, bring moisturizer, bring hand sanitizer, dress for the occasion. Remember that where you are, you're gonna be there all day. Bring a couple of pairs of socks. 6 ones for the morning, thinner ones for the afternoon, because your feet are gonna swell. So everything you need to do is to plan ahead. Plan for your food. Fortunately, a lot of exhibitors have restaurants on their booths. See if you can make your schedule that accommodates for those things as well. The nightlife in Dusseldorf can trap you and get you staying there much longer than you need to be. So plan your exit so that you can get away from the grounds, get back to your hotel, especially if it's an hour and a half away. And make a list of the things you must see. Do your research before you go to the show. There's a ton of Drupa events now, pre-show planning, write them down. Know what you need to do immediately when you get there. What are you actually looking for now? What's your 4-year plan? And what's the services that you want to add to your business in the future? And go look at those booths. You have 1,600 exhibitors to pick from. You're not going to see them all, but make your list, plan your schedule. Some vendors have pre-show meetings that you may be able to attend. That'll extend your show floor time. Also, some of them have Canadian events they have planned. See if you can get on that schedule and do that as well. So plan is the most important thing you can do, because you're not going to have much time when you get there. If you're booked there for 4 days, you're not going to see everybody in those 4 days. The grounds are just way too big.
Morten, any insights you share too, and how you plan and pre-plan and overboards maybe?
So did you ask me, or I sorry, didn't hear?
Yeah, yes, Morten, yeah, if you have any insights into how you plan and arrange your pre-planning?
I totally agree with Mark, and I think there were some really good advices there. I have also been, I think I've been at Drupa 5 times actually, so I beat you on that one, but I'm not Canadian, so you still have the place, of course, right? So it is a fantastic show. It is an overwhelming big show, and as you say, Mark, you cannot see everything in one thing in any way. One of the things that is really nice for you to remember is that I think, Alex, you can confirm that you still have the buses in between the buildings, right? Because at least in the previous times that you can go from bus, so if you need to shortcut, it is good to just keep an eye on the bus, because they take you everywhere fast and easy. So that is something that's great. And otherwise, yeah, plan ahead. That is definitely the right thing. We have next week we have our 3rd pre-Drupa, which is like a virtual, where we have invited vendors to come and talk about some of the things that you can expect to see. And we've been so fortunate that on the first one we had almost 7,000 attendees in the replays and so far. And I have not counted for the last one, but it is getting quite popular. And we have written more than 100 articles now about exhibitors in an open LinkedIn group. So if people want to know a little bit about the history, a little bit about what to expect, you can go into the group. You don't even need to join it. You can just read it. It's called INKISH pre-Drupa.
Well, that's perfect. That actually would segue brilliantly into my next question, was going to be, how can attendees stay informed about the latest industry trends and developments before, during, and after Drupa to ensure they make informed decisions? Morten kind of segued brilliantly with that one. So please plug the domain again, Morten, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I can say that the reason why we have done a lot of activities up to Drupa is because I mean, there's been also from Drupa's side, of course, been a little bit nervous about how many people will attend a show that has not been here for 8 years. And we thought we wanted to do what we could in order to engage with our audience and see if we could encourage people to go to Drupa. But I will also be honest and say that because everybody's expecting a little bit lower numbers compared to 16, that we have also planned a lot about how can people get the information if they are not attending Drupa. And that is not because we don't want people to be in Düsseldorf. It's more because just as an example, in Europe, there's 112,000 printing companies, and not all 112,000 printing companies and their 1 million employees will attend Drupa under all circumstances. So therefore, we need to think about the omni-channel, think about how other channels can also help getting the information spread out. We have developed something we call the Super Content Group, which is basically 25 media partners, where all our content from each others are subtitled into all the languages of Europe and co-produced and delivered in all the channels almost simultaneously. So we have actually a full program from 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the afternoon every day, all 11 days. So we are covering almost, I think it's about 1,700 slots of information that we are covering. So I think that is maybe one of the most comprehensive sources of information. And last thing I just want to say, we are also for Americans that wants to fly to America, to Europe, we have a 144 pages digital magazine that is interactive, so people can read it in the plane about the planning and where to go and what to see, and that is pretty cool. And if you want it in print, it can be ordered as a print on demand thing that will be delivered to your hotel. So I think it is we try really to make something that is taking advantage of the technology that we have today. And this is a hybrid product, so it will be the content will be printed in offset and the covers will be printed digitally. So again, trying to really utilize the technologies available, and it will be a freaking fantastic project.
And I like to add real quick that of course all the exhibitors have an exhibitor profile where they have product videos where they show what they are bringing. So if you go to the Drupa website and you go through the exhibitor list, all the interactive hall plans, you can click on the exhibitors, see what they have on display, what they promote. And also we work together as a media partner with What They Think. They have the Road to Drupa where they cover stories of companies, what they're going to have on display, new technologies. There's a bunch of ways of how to prepare for Drupa. And I think Drupa, the website, is definitely a good starting point. But of course, there are so many different channels. But as Mark also said, a little bit of homework. Of course, you should always walk through the halls with an open mind and not be stressed with a tight schedule, but a little bit of pre-planning of like who you should see with a top 20 list of things to do, including the education agenda, might be a smart thing to do.
Definitely.
And Alex, you also did mention too, I believe, if there was like a blog as well through the Messe Düsseldorf, the Drupa page. So there was like a lot of resources through your sites as well for people pre, post, and during as well.
That's correct. And the YouTube channel. But again, I'm repeating myself. A good starting point is either the app. The Drupa app has everything on your fingertips, or go on the Drupa website, spend like 15 minutes and look around, and then you will, see a lot of information already shared and channels. And if you have questions, of course, you can always reach out to the Drupa team directly.
That brings to mind one more thing that I need to tell you to do. Remember that they're in a lot of presentations that are in different languages, but also make sure your phone plan works in Europe, that you're not going to get a huge long distance charge bill. Bring a charger, because if you're listening and you're going to be downloading all kinds of things and watching all kinds of videos and using your map, you're going to use up all your battery power on your phone. So make sure you have an extra charger. Make sure you have a converter in order to plug it in at the hotel when you need more power.
Perfect. Actually, I'll go back to you, actually, Mark, so we can piggyback this question off. Can you share some of the success stories from your past Drupa events and highlight the value of attending for people that are kind of on the fence about whether to go or not? Which I would always suggest going. Old Town and the pills and the pork knuckle, brilliant. So,
Well, I guess one of my best success stories when I was there, because I was an exhibitor, was with Matt Rowland when it was way back in 2004 when Vista Print came onto the booth, and they came over to, and one of the gentlemen from the US said, "Where is Windsor, Canada?" I said, "That happens to be in my territory." And that was the beginning of Vista Print wanting to give away business cards, and went, "That's a heck of a business model, but that's how you get those things happen when people come and visit and you look at those things." So that was one of the biggest success stories for me personally down there. But there's always things to see. I mean, keep your eyes wide open, see what's going on, so.
Morten, your success story in the eyes of the press from past Drupas?
Friends.
There you go.
I mean, you meet so many people that you sometimes don't meet, even though you visit a lot of different trade shows. I would also give the cadeau to the Messe Düsseldorf for having a nice press area. So it's also a good opportunity to meet the press. And I remember at 16, we were only 2 years old. So that was the first time I met the one and only Mr. Frank Romano. And I was like, I don't dare to talk to him. And then I found out that he's very accessible and a very good friend now. So that was one of the good takeaways. And of course, the learning experience from having a show with so much running gear. And sometimes people forget how important it is to see technology. We always we should talk about business solutions and how it helps our customers to do things. But when the day is over, it is freaking nice to see an offset printing running at full speed, right?
Absolutely. It's funny you bring up Frank Romano, Morten. He actually does not fly, so he took a boat from North America to Europe and trains just to get to that show. So.
But I don't know if you know the real story, the funny story. I'm not saying that it's wrong what you say, but it's funny because he actually sailed to Israel every time. And he spent the time on the boat writing books. So every time he has been at Drupa, he has also authored a book. And he typically went to Israel to meet his friends in Israel first. And I think that it was a combination of sailing and train riding back to Düsseldorf afterwards. So it is an amazing gentleman and a big contributor to our industry, of course.
Absolutely. Kind of funny to Mark's success story about having a big customer with an offset press. I was formerly in the press, and one of my advertisers asked about a contact at Komori. I made the introduction, and they've now switched, and they have 4 Komori presses, but that started in 2016 from that introduction and that meeting. So it's kind of, yeah, good to know people, obviously, and good networking opportunities at Drupa. Alex, can you highlight some of the notable keynote speakers and industry experts? You'd alluded to kind of the education sessions, but and you maybe share some of their insights and expertise and what topics they'd be covering.
Yes, yeah, so far we have already 5 keynotes confirmed throughout the 11 days. So they are a bit spread out. And yeah, I will just give you a very, very brief summary of what is covered. Again, as I mentioned, they all take place in the Drupa Cube. And yeah, we kick off the keynotes with Vicky Price. She is a Chief Economic Advisor at the Center for Economics and Business Research. So she will give an overall global economic outlook. And then we have on May 30th, we have Rory Sutherland. He is the Vice Chairman of Ogilvy. So it's a marketing related keynote, and he will explain why print in the digital age is more important than ever. Then we have on June 1st, we have Mark Maslin. He's a professor at the Earth System Science at UCL. It's a university in Denmark. And his keynote will examine the impact of climate change and what the future may hold. And then on June 4th, we have James Loudon. He is managing partner at Asia Growth Partners, and he will focus on building trusted executive peer group networks with the focus on Europe and Asia-based teams. And last but not least, we have Calvin Lacan on June 6th. He is from Canada. He's a doctor at York University, and he will provide us a fresh look and new approaches to waste management. And again, go to the app or the website, you can see the entire program, because based on your travel plans, you can sort by day and you see what is offered where, and then you maybe can squeeze it in your day.
At this point, too, I'd like to remind those physically in attendance with us in the room today and those virtually attending online to please feel free to submit questions as well if you have any questions for any of the panelists today. My next one I'll put to the panel as a whole. What do you find are some of the key challenges or obstacles that professionals in the printing industry, I'll say plural, because traditional through garment print, the whole gamut's run at the Drupa show, but that are currently facing, and how do you believe these challenges can be addressed at Drupa and the exhibitors and the technologies they provided? Morten touched on it a little bit with the automation, obviously, things like that, but if any of you wanted to go into more detail about it. And I'll open it up to the panel as well. Okay,
Let me start then.
There you go. I'll go with you.
I think that there's at least one topic which Drupa unfortunately can't help you with right now. And that is, I mean, it is actually two things that I think is quite important. One thing is that we in our industry we are extremely good at talking our own industry down. Instead of promoting all the fantastic thing about print, we talk about that, okay, because there is printed less paper, we see that as a tragedy instead of looking at the value of the paper that is being printed. Instead, when we look at fewer printing presses sold, we see that as a tragedy rather than thinking of that it is getting a more balanced supply and demand in the market, which gives better opportunities for the printers that are in market. Those kind of things are, I believe, is extremely important to talk up. And the other thing is that we need, in my opinion, we need to remove ourselves from the internet in the sense that we should, of course, we compete in the internet space where it comes to marketing Canadian dollars. but I think it is extremely important that we also see that print has values that are not comparable to what you do online, and therefore start really focusing on how we can get more customers. And at some point, I would hope that Drupa, also when you look at how you should develop, I would hope that also make it more attractive for brand owners to attend. I know that you have approached design schools and designers to come in and get inspiration from the industry, which is of course super great. But I think that, I mean, if you ask the print buyers from let's say the big luxury houses and from the big packaging converters and Nestle's and these kind of things, the people who are in production might go and see Drupa, but the ones that are creative and are the one that maybe influences the technology most will not attend any of the trade shows in our industry. So that is and I'm not saying that Drupa cannot do it because you're big. I'm just saying that it would be fantastic to emphasize on how we can sell more print in the future. One thing. Secondly, that we don't talk our own industry down because we have so many values that we should promote instead.
That's a great point. And there's some great models of that with like a digital web journey, like a sales cycle going through with certain trigger points to customize printed material that's followed up specific to what your journey is through the digital realm as well, which reinforces the messaging and tangible physical printed piece. And there's so much models of that and the success rate and the conversion rates of doing that, rebalancing and reinforcing digital journeys with printed material that's customized and tailored. So yeah, excellent. You kind of alluded to that, Morten, too, with those that can't physically attend, because it might be the production people, not the creative people that are able to attend Drupa. I kind of just want to get this point to summarize all the ways of attending Drupa virtually, so to speak. And we will definitely be sharing all of these resources with those that have registered to attend both in person and digitally with us today. But we'll put them all, pull them in Mark, we'll send them outbound to everybody. But if you and Alex want to share kind of all the aspects of the virtual attendee can experience and draw from.
I will of course recommend you to follow what they think and as an official media channel, because of course a lot of the exhibitors are working with official channels. So we just add, let's say, an industry interest because we also are media and we work with other media. So I think that the many different offerings among media and consultants and influencers, I think it's just a tremendously important thing for the industry that we get this message out. So follow all of us. That would be great.
And there's live coverage from the halls, as Morten indicated, our media partner, what they think will also visit exhibitors and they will stream from the booth. But of course, the best would be to see the running machineries in person. It doesn't transfer through a video, but you know, we definitely will do some live streaming from the expo halls.
Alex, are the education seminars, are those going to be reported for like people to be able to log on or view them post in any form?
No, I think we mostly promote those in person. Maybe after the show, parts of it will be published or on demand, but like there's no live streaming of all the educational content.
Oh, that's fair. Perfect. So maybe I'll pose this to Mark, kind of rally him back into this conversation. Can you share any tips or best practices for engaging with exhibitors? I know in the past you were an exhibitor yourself, but from your point of view, and make meaningful connections that can lead to potential partnerships?
Well, I guess set an appointment, make sure that you talk to the vendor, set up an appointment to see them because they're all going to be busy. And if there's a technology that you want to talk to that particular vendor about, they will have all their experts there and they will have their chief engineers usually on the booth. So if there's something at an in-depth conversation you want to get to, have the people there to be able to do that. And that should be able to be arranged, but make sure you have your contact number, because schedules change, people get tied up. And if you're going to be tied up, make sure you call them, tell them you're coming. That would be my advice for that.
And I would like to add, all exhibitor profiles have a contact button. Of course, we also have matchmaking where exhibitors, you know, everybody knows this tool where you can reach out and you ping each other. But if you start with the exhibitor profiles, there's always a contact button. And if you request, like as Mark said, like, hey, can I have a meeting? That probably makes it a bit more successful than just waiting in line until it's your turn.
Yeah, that's going to be a
Taking
tremendous...
a number.
Yeah,
taking a number like at the bakery in the morning, right?
Exactly. And that's going to be a great advantage of this Drupa versus 2016 because the digital supports of the exhibitor now being able to, and the attendees to be able to book appointments and virtually map and get more of a sense of scale of the halls versus previous iterations. That'll be a tremendous advantage for people attending. I have a question. I'll pose it to the entire panel. It's more specific industry based. It's as a label printer has always attended Label Expo instead of Drupa. Is there anything that Drupa offers for the label and packaging space that a targeted show like Label Expo would be lacking? Obviously, in terms of scale and scope, like many more major players would be present and with equipment operating. But any other insights, Morten or Alex, to offer to that?
I would just say like Label Expo is a great show. I think they have a much shorter cycle. They cover also different parts of the world, but Drupa is the only show with such a high international rate. It luckily is only every 4 years. You know, I don't think that we could expect everybody to come in this magnitude every year. And it just has the highest concentration of running machinery hands-on. And I think it just like gives you the best overview of what is available today and what is coming up tomorrow.
Morten, do you have anything to add as well?
I don't want to take all the good moods away from Alex, right? No, I think you're right, Alex. But I also think, to be honest, that it is a big discussion. Do you want to have the convergence, also like Printing United, where you have everything under one roof approach, or do you want to have the specialized shows like Label Expo and the FESPAS, right? So I think it is a little bit. Because with all due respect for Drupa, it is overwhelming. And I mean, if you're not interested in anything but labels, there's a lot of time to go from A to B to C to D to get the same thing that as you would probably get at a Label Expo, which is then more dense. But I mean, I think that if I should say something about the positive thing about being at Drupa in relation to the label segment, for example, is that I guess that now labels is probably the segment in the market that has been the fastest converter of into the digital transformation. I think that the hybrid label presses and the adaptation of digital technology by far is number one among label converters. And I think there is a tendency that if HB, the Canons, the Bobs, when they exhibit a lot of different products to a lot of different segments, of course they also showcase both analog and digital. So maybe you have a better chance if you're interested in maybe hybrid models, and maybe also if you have business model that passes from maybe a commercial printer that also wants to go into digital, that you will not find at Label Expo at all. And this you will find at Drupa. So from that perspective, it makes sense to go and see that. So I'm not saying a label converter should not go there, but I think, again, as also Mark said, I think that it's important that you really look at the exhibitor list and find out what you want to see, right? And on the label side, I think that, as far as I remember, because I've been many times through the list of exhibitors, and I think there's a majority of the label suppliers and the flexo printers are Chinese today at Drupa, and that is as Alex also said, that is Germany and China are now the two biggest countries represented at Drupa, and I think that, as far as I remember from when I looked at the exhibitor list, many of the Chinese are into the flexible market, where you of course can see labels that you may not see at Label Expo. So also, if you're interested in let's say models from China, maybe it's a good opportunity to see that, because the number of exhibitors from China is also exceeding any numbers that you would see at Label Expo anyway.
And if I look at the label market as a digital side, and short run printers that are also looking at labels as a supplement to what they're already doing, and can they use some of their current equipment to produce labels in shorter run lengths? And there's more and more demand for shorter run length labels that can be done digitally, and they need to be die cut. There's all kinds of different ways of accomplishing that goal today in smaller numbers without going into the flexo world to get that to happen. So,
yeah, and that is exactly my point when you say that when you have that convergence, you will basically be able to see that. I think that the Konica Minolta Accurajet is a brilliant example of one of the, let's say, first movers that took let's say, a regular laser print and turned it into a relatively efficient label printer with built-in converting, right? So I think that is maybe a very interesting space to look into, definitely.
One of our panelists did not listen to the turn off of their cell phone.
Turned off the wrong one.
Okay, at this point in time, I might actually ask one of you kind of your final closing thoughts, and I'll start just alphabetical with Alex. Kind of one more takeaway, one more kind of definitely selling us. You don't have to sell me. I've been to Drupa, I love it. Obviously, it's overwhelming. That's sort of a 2024's Drupa, the big kind of final takeaway for us.
It's only 6 weeks to go, like enough time to book your airfare and to come over there. There was a long break. The next Drupa will be in a few years or a couple of years. So this is the time to come over and see what is new in the industry. And we hope to see you there. And if you have questions, just reach out. We're happy to help.
Fantastic. I'll pivot to Mark then, alphabetical.
I would say that if you're in this industry and you haven't been to Drupa, go. You need to at least attend one Drupa so that you can actually realize the industry that you're in, how big it is, how many diverse products there is, how big a future the printing industry has, and it's just growing. It's not getting smaller. So be part of it and go get educated.
Agree. I just want to say a final thing about that as well, and that is you should go there. It is a super interesting learning experience and a networking experience. And I want to add something that is a little bit of a surprise to me. We started 2 weeks ago to making a hotel index every Monday. So if you go to that LinkedIn group I spoke about, we do a hotel price index. And just for those who may not have $500 budgets for going on a 4-star super hotel in the middle of Düsseldorf, you can still get a reasonable hotel for down to 38 euros per night in the Drupa time. So and we have named them in our group. So if you're on a budget, you can definitely go and check them out. And I think that is something that is tremendously important. That is because, I mean, one of the things that's always a concern about Drupa is that the prices of hotels are freaking crazy, to be honest, right? I can tell you that Holiday Inn the week before May 28 is 84 euros per night, and at the first week of Drupa it is 294. So you can just see how much it is, how much they are trying to take advantage of Drupa, which is of how business is. But I'm just saying that still you can find something that has a reasonable, good hotel. Looks like clean hotel, and we will actually go and visit 3 of them within the next couple of weeks, just to test them and see how they work, in the range of 38 euros per night. So stay tuned for that.
Sounds like a deal. Well, I'd very much like to thank all of our attendees today for coming, as well as our panelists. I wanted to reiterate the fact that all virtual resources will be shared with all registered attendees after today's session, both physically here as well as digitally present. At this point, I'd like to thank our sponsors again, our platinum sponsors being Canon, HP, Innovative Displays, Konica Minolta, Landa Digital Printing, Spicers, as well as Trinet Global Logistics. Our gold sponsors being Adobe, Fujifilm, Graphics Canada, Heidelberg, Kodak, Kongsberg Precision Cutting Systems, Mini Giants, and Plastic and Paper. Our silver sponsors being GMG Color, as well as Sydney Stone. And thank you to HP for the physical location, as well as the technology donated today. Our next session is, sorry, my apologies, something special. So as always, today's session has been recorded and will be posted to the DIA YouTube page. The link will be available within a week. If you'd like it, please email, once again, Marg, M-A-R-G, @digitalimagingassociation.com. Now our next, a knowledge resource symposium will be distributed to everyone who has attended today. This is a member benefit that the DIA started in 2023 and has been issued for all meetings. An extra special for today's session is a digital brochure. Oh, here we go. We're back. Excellent. A digital brochure which features the DIA sponsors who are exhibiting at Drupa and showcases the major products on their booth. So our next meeting will be taking place on Wednesday, May the 15th, noon to 2 p.m. Eastern, Mastering Strategy for Print Managers. The keynote will be Alec Kukite, author of At the Helm. As well, our DIA golf tournament will be Thursday, June the 13th at noon at Nottawasaga Resort, the Ridge Course. And for more information or to register, contact once again, Marg, M-A-R-G, @digitalimagingassociation.com. So join the DIA today by scanning the code or by emailing marg@digitalimagingassociation.com. So thank you for joining us today. We hope you found it educational and fun, and we appreciate everyone's generous contribution and their time on the panel today. And on the behalf of our panelists, we'll be making a donation to the Canadian Print Scholarship Fund. So I'd like to thank Alex, Morten, and Mark for joining us today. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.